Good evening, race fans, and welcome to another Freaky Fast Wednesday night here. Tonight we are at Michigan in the Irish Hills for the 2-mile endeavor that is Michigan International Speedway for the Wheelhouse 175. We are here on Wednesday night as usual with the Wicked Racing League. And tonight again at Michigan, ready to roll second points paying race. Zach, we saw a lot of action last week. Only 5 cars on the lead lap, but a lot of change of position, change of lead. But in the end, it came down to the top 3 qualifiers finishing 1, 2, 3. Do you think we can expect to see that tonight?
You know, Carl, that's a good possibility. This place here does like the fact of having track position out front here in Michigan, but with what I've seen a little bit, I've been doing a little research, looking around, seeing how Michigan plays out for a few of these tracks since it's the official track on iRacing this week. And man, the draft seems to be very strong. It seems like you can make up positions from the back, but still being that lead car will be vital to have that clean air. It seems like that's something you want, but at the same time down the straightaways, you're giving up speed. And that draft is being given to your competitors from behind.
That clean air, Zach, we mentioned that a lot last week during Dover, the Monster Mile. We saw when drivers would get about half a second to the tail end of the competitor, that dirty air would really push that car up the track and really mess with the downforce of the front end. So with the draft as big of a deal tonight, and being especially loose off exit as we see the 17 go around 3 and 4, these guys getting squirrely. Is that downforce going to be even more at this 2-mile track?
Yeah, it really can actually. This place here, especially when you lose the air on the nose, especially in the corners, it's a progressively banked track also. So that kind of equates to the factors where if you enter a little bit too low here on that very first groove of this racetrack, it's less banked than the lines above it. So your car has a little bit less turn. It doesn't want to rotate as well there. And you might see some guys taking it 3 wide, going to that very flat bottom lane there and washing up into the car in the middle, where that car might wash up into the car on its outside and kind of have a chain reaction deal. So it's easy for that to play out, especially if someone just cuts across your nose in front of you and takes away that clean air that you have on the nose and gives you that disturbed, dirty air coming out from behind these cars. It can really affect your grip level very quickly, and you got to be on top of that situation. But it's going to be fun to see how it all plays out, but definitely a long one here tonight for 150 laps, and these drivers are going to have a lot of time here to figure out how to get around this 2-mile place.
They're going to have a lot of time, but strategy is going to come into play. We have 3 stages tonight. The first stage ending at lap 45, the second stage ending at lap 90. So that's going to make a 60-lap run to the end of this race to the checkered flag with 80% fuel load. We've seen it even last week at Dover. It became a kind of a crucial issue who was going to have fuel and who didn't. With 80% fuel load in these cars tonight, which will be more important, tires or fuel?
You know, I think it's going to be a one of the things where both of them are just as equally valuable. I mean, tires are going to fall off a lot. I think here tonight, here in Michigan, I think we're going to see a considerable drop into that later run of this race. You could see these guys start to have to think about, getting away from each other and starting to build a little bit of a gap. So we'll have to see how that works out. But fuel is going to be interesting. They're not going to be able to make it to that lap 45 stage. I was looking at fuel. I'm thinking these guys, if at most, can probably go 38 laps. And from there, they'll have to decide what they want to do with tires, with the 4 sets they have in pit road, and then the 1 set they start with for a total of 5 here for 150 laps. That's going to be, probably using up majority of them, but we'll see how it works out. Again, like I said, not going to make it to that stage, Carl, but it makes it where if a caution does come out, we'll have some strategy to be played.
Strategy indeed, and as we're watching the 1 car of Mike Thomas go around here in turn 4, practice session is about ready to wrap up, and we're going to get ready to go qualifying. And we mentioned it before, we mentioned it earlier, track position is kind of important at a track as Michigan. The draft is going to play a huge role, but it's not like your Daytona or your Talladega where you can go full pedal and bump draft and everything. You have to get out of the throttle, and getting out of the corner, getting on the throttle is making it really, really loose and interesting for these drivers. So with that kind of conditions, and it's kind of I would say a decent day out here, but so with those kind of conditions, Zach, we have a lot of sliding and checking up. And making sure you're up front will definitely help that situation of not getting caught up in stuff later on in the race.
Yeah, the accordion effect can be very detrimental to your race for sure here at Michigan, because we stay so stacked up. It's very similar to Daytona and Talladega, where we do stay packed together. But like you brought up, Carl, you're lifting for these corners very different than Daytona and Talladega, where the only time you're lifting is for a car ahead of you, if to slow down and to not make contact really. So here at Michigan, you're trying to lift to make each and every one of these corners. You might even use a little brake, maybe even utilize a little bit of shifting too here in this next gen Cup Series car. So going to be trying to do a lot of things here to find the grip tonight. Will be the drivers, but at the same time, they're going to be stacked up for the majority of the short runs here, trying to find what they can and get out front. But qualifying could be the vital time, and that's what it is right now as drivers try to put down their fast times coming from Dover last week.
Yes, indeed, and we were watching the 22 make his first time lap around the track, utilizing that high line, probably just to get a little bit of speed, but man, he is a little squirrely and just makes it difficult getting up in that lighter gray section of the track. Not as much rubber has been run up there, and as we're riding along with the 22, he's going to put down just a, looks like a 40.031, so it's a rough lap for the 22 of Eric Hauk as we see him continue to ride that outside line. And Zach, that brings me to another point. With that outside line being less rubbered in, will it take some time for those drivers to get used to that outside line and get more confident as the race goes on?
Yeah, this outer groove right here, this is very interesting to see from Eric Hauk in this 22. I mean, I would expect to be a little bit farther down the racetrack, more in line with right here, but definitely trying to go up there and put some rubber down maybe, and that will help the grip level up there. The more rubber that does get laid down up there, but I think majority of the night you're going to see most guys utilizing those couple lanes underneath that lane, unless you have nowhere to go and it's a traffic jam. You might be looking to take it all the way to the top there, but at the moment, with the first couple times coming, or the first set of times coming through, Gavin Rogers right now sitting atop the board ahead of TJ Roberts in that 3 machine.
And again, timing being so important for these qualifying laps. We see the 7 of the Coffee rolling up there, doing really well in that high line as well, trying to get this momentum as he crosses the line. And as these guys race, this track is infamous for being so many multiple lanes. We've seen 3 wide, sometimes even 4 wide at this track, and hitting on the aerodynamic part of this car. Doesn't seem as sensitive as the Gen 6 car in terms of side force, but you still don't want to go into turn 1 or turn 2 having to pedal the throttle with a couple of cars on either inside or your outside.
Yeah, this car does feel a little different with the side forces. It's definitely got different feelings when it comes to the downforce. He was trying to find the side force. There was last week's winner, Alex Coffey, there off of 4, but yeah, when you're side by side, these cars are a little bit more manageable now. But I will say that it is still very, very difficult, and that air can be very turbulent in between those packs. But looks like Coffee there with that slide, and 3 and 4 will still hold on to about a 6th place position here in qualifying, and see where he'll end up as the rest of the times come through here in this qualifying session.
Definitely wrapping up with a minute left. We can definitely see some of the drivers. Alex Coffey, great finish last week. Not quite having the same speed as we saw last week. Gavin Rogers up, of course, there, running the fastest lap at a 39.051. So sub 40 laps for the Wicked Racing League here with Stephen Borbell in 3rd and TJ Roberts. I'm sorry, in 3rd with Stephen Borbell in 2nd. But these guys are really screaming around, and there's a large discrepancy in times. Is that just the line, Zach, or is that possible bumps in the track, maybe getting a little loose, trying to get all you can out of that lap?
Yeah, this place is very line sensitive too. It has a very, I would say, a qualifying line almost. You have to be very smooth, keep as much momentum built up in that car, and looks to be this Gavin Rogers on top of the board. Looks like he's done it the best of anybody of the 20 qualifiers we've had so far. He's got about 3 seconds left there. It looks like he's going to hold on to it here, Carl.
He's going to hold on to it, and we saw last week Gavin Rogers up front almost the entire race. He actually led some laps last week, equating to about 14 laps. So that was last week, but this is this week now. Qualifying on pole is the 17 of Gavin Rogers, and as mentioned as well, Stefan Borbell in second place, and TJ Roberts is going to round out the starting podium here at Michigan. In fourth is going to be Adam Buzzio. Fifth place is going to be Ryan Thomas. Sixth place is going to be the 78 of Mason Hausman. Alex Coffey there sitting in seventh. Curtis Young in eighth. Christian DeRoches in ninth. And rounding out the top 10 will be that number 18 machine of Blaine Wilson.
In the 11th position, it's going to be the one of Mike Thomas. 12th is going to go to the 00 of John Curtis. 13th is going to be Richard Wilshire. 14th is going to go to Nigel Christensen. 15th is going to be Stephen T. Cole. 16th is going to go to Ryan Harrison. 17th is going to be Chad being the 9 machine. 18th is going to be Johnny Shade. As 19th is going to go to Jamie Plord. And rounding out our field here, starting 20th, is going to be Eric Hawk in the 22 machine.
And with 20 cars on the pit road getting ready to grid up, this is going to be a little chaotic in the beginning, since we've seen some of these drivers get loose. And obviously, aggression is going to be key. That track decision being so critical, and knowing you can get those spots easy and early on in the run on the restart. But you got to temper patience sometimes with aggression, as we have seen some of these guys bump bumpers and fenders and get everyone loose. And with these cold tires, you don't want to get too loose too early. You want to give them some time to warm up and give them some time to get racy, as we are getting ready to go here for the Wicked Racing League here at Michigan. Zach, we are expecting some quite fast-paced action here with this 2-mile track, and as fast as they go, it's going to be really hard to keep them out of each other and out of the wall.
Yeah, this place is going to be stacked up, and you're going to see a traffic jam here in Michigan tonight once this race gets under green. It's going to be a lot of drivers stacked up trying to find a little bit of air to make their car handle better, and then on the straightaways, they're going to be looking to get into that dirty air and get that draft to utilize it to go faster down these straights to make passes. So it's going to be fun to see who can make the most of it here in stage number 1. Remember, folks, that's lap 45 for stage 1, so it's going to be a wild run to that point. And we think they can go about 38 laps on fuel, too, so don't think nobody's going to make it to that lap 45 stage caution. So going to be an interesting way of seeing how the strategy plays out. Does someone come in halfway to shortcut it, or does someone stretch it there to the end and try to stay out at that stage? There's a lot of possibilities, I think, here tonight.
So many possibilities, so many outcomes, and so many questions. Are we going to have cautions before that time? How many cautions? I mean, what kind of racing are we going to have? Are people going to try and short pit and maybe split it in half, or maybe run the longest and try and get that caution? Pit road here is very, very tricky, going from over 180 miles an hour down to the 55, 65 miles an hour they have. So very, very scary indeed. But as we're rolling along, we see the cars on the back straightaway heading into turn 3, about to go green here in the Irish Hills. Side by side, they line up 2 by 2, 10 rows deep, 20 cars filling this field tonight. A lot of good looking cars, a lot of straight cars, but probably not going to last through the rest of the night, knowing how these cars on this track likes to handle in the sunlight. But here we go. Pace car is making its way onto pit road. The green flag is in the hands of Barney, the flagman, and getting ready. These guys stacking up ready for the restart, and the flag is in the air. We are green here at Michigan, and already we're looking at cars taking it 3 wide down the front straightaway into turn 1. Zach already trying to capitalize on the bunched up formation and trying to make moves.
Yeah, that was the 78 of Hossman there, out jumped to the outside and had to jump back in line. I think he had a little bit of a scare when he jumped out, so decided to get back in as everybody makes it through turn 2 there. It's going to be Gavin Rogers out front leading the way in the 17 machine heading down the 3.
Heading down the 3, going into the corner 3 wide, looks like halfway through the pack there, as we see these guys fan out so many lines. And Zach, how do you weigh the draft versus clean air? You want draft down the straightaway, you want some help in the in the corner, do you want to try and find that clean air for your front end early on in the corner and maybe help you turn? Which one is better in your opinion?
Yeah, in my opinion, you want to be Gavin Rogers out front. But if you're a driver in the back, you definitely got to find a little bit of area to stick your nose out in certain parts of the corner to get a little bit of downforce there on that nose. And down these straightaways, you're also going to want to be on the outside most likely, because that's where everybody goes up. That's where the draft line will be. So if you get stuck on that inside line, you might get trained here tonight. We'll see if that is a factor. But right now, very spaced out from what I've seen from the racing this week, but as this run goes on, I think they'll stack back up here.
Oh, stacking back up is this group of drivers. We see the 19 of Stefan Borbell, who qualified second, now fighting for that 6th position and under attack from the 94 behind him. He did not get a very good lap 2, turn 2. I think he got out of the throttle just a little bit, and now he's just falling further and further back in the field, but also could be a sense of saving. You mentioned we think they only have 38 laps of fuel, and right now the 19 falling back, getting passed by the 56 of Wolsifer. These guys are racing hard, but the 19 maybe showing signs of saving early on. Do you think maybe in the outer reaches, Zach, they can reach those 45 laps?
Maybe that's the possibility. Maybe that's what a few guys here have been trying to elect to do. Maybe that's why Borbell is dropping back. So we'll have to see how that works out through the night. But battles continue on, and really the battles that are pretty wild back here is around Blaine Wilson in the 18 machine for his 14th position. He's got Stephen Cole, the 96, also the 9 of Chad Bean, Jamie Plord. All these drivers from the 14th all the way back to the 17th place region, all stacked up on top of each other, looking to go side by side and find any little bit of grip.
Any bit of grip at any position possible. Points are awarded at the end of each stage, and we are pretty certain that there is a pit stop coming, green flag quite possibly. So whatever positions you gain now, you don't have to gain later, and you can definitely finish this as clean as you can with a couple of good pit stops. All it takes is a speeding penalty, though, and that wrecks your race. And it just kind of goes to prove we got to kind of balance the aggression again on pit road. How deep can we dive? How late can we brake? But also the whole strategy is when we're looking, the 38's going to get past. We're going to go to the bottom. We see along here the 90s. I'm sorry, that's the 9 going along the bottom, trying to pass the 38 low. And Zach, that looks really difficult. He tried to go low on the inside of the turn, on the beginning of the turn 3, but as he got lower, as he tried to exit turn 4, it looks like he scrubbed that speed off. So right now, looking like the high line, maybe the dominant line for the moment.
Yeah, high line is looking good, and right now, Ryan Thomas up front is utilizing that high line. He's trying to go around Gavin Rogers in the 17 for this lead position, and he's been looking strong at it. Right now, Rogers stuck on the bottom. Looks like he will finally clear back across the nose of Ryan Thomas there off of 4, but Rogers had to really fight Thomas off there to not let him get the lead.
And once again, I know I'm going to sound like a just broken record at the end of this race, but aerodynamics meaning so much. The 40 got to the outside of the 17 car, had the momentum, couldn't quite make the pass, and it bunched up everyone behind him. But now that they are single file, they're starting to single file out as well. It looks like we are top 7 cars all in a bunch, but all single file. But right now, the 40 under attack from the 3 of TJ Roberts early on, and TJ Roberts going to try and take that high line. So right now, the 40 machine staying in the tracks of the 17, and it looks like the 3 is going to have decent momentum and try and make another pass on the 40. So here we go. That draft, Zach, meaning so much down the front straightaway going into 1. He's going to give him a little push.
Yeah, give him a little push there from the 3 to the 40 there. Try to help him catch up to that 17 of Gavin Rogers. Also got Adam Buzzio, Mason Hossman there, Alex Coffey, and Curtis Young in this pack. And then Christian DeRoches and Richard Wilshire, they're kind of in no man's land there in between these two packs that have formed up front. As from 10th on back, you got a pack, and up front, you also got one forming. So it's kind of similar to what you see here at Daytona and Talladega.
And that just goes to prove how much that draft means. You see some of these guys falling back, making their own second group. You see the top group, and then the no man's land, as you said, with the 23 and the 56 of DeRoches and Wolsifer. These guys just sitting there in their own pace, but right now riding along with this group of cars. These guys are, look at that. Saw him, looks like with the 19, give up on the throttle just a little earlier in the throttle, making the car behind him check up. And Zach, that was that is accordion effect we mentioned earlier, and right now he's under attack. So the accordion effect, even as they're strung out, can make you lose or gain a couple spots.
Yeah, it's very dangerous too if you don't really judge it well. As wow, look at how high everybody's running up in the groove. All everybody way up the racetrack there, running that outer groove, and that is definitely interesting to see. As even our leaders up front, I don't think they've been that high onto the racetrack. They're mostly running near the middle of this racetrack. So we'll see what the second pack is able to do as this run goes on. But right now, still some good racing going on in it.
Good racing indeed, and that is the 19 of Borbell. He qualified second, and then he fell back. Look at this great momentum going down the back straightaway, trying to make a pass on the the 13 there, but the 9 taking that inside lane and washing up just a little bit. Ooh, a little bit close for comfort there, Zach. And look at this, 3 lanes at Michigan, 3 wide, fantastic racing, and that's what this track is really known for, is its high speed, high banks, and really high action track as he's riding on board, looking back at the side-by-side action. So Michigan delivering again tonight.
Yeah, our second place man there, John Curtis, right here behind the 19 of Stephen Borbell, who we were right on board with. Finished second last week at Dover. Right now kind of caught back in the mid-pack of this field and trying to make his way forward. But these guys are all losing a good amount of time to the drivers up front. It's about 6 seconds from the lead car of this pack of Chad Bean in the 9 all the way up to our leaders of Gavin Rogers in the 17, he's starting to pull away from the main pack. So Rogers has really got it figured out in the 17. He's got about a second gap all the way back to TJ Roberts.
And considering the package, that's actually really impressive. They were definitely sold this package to kind of bring back pack racing and let them, bring back the fender-to-fender rubbing. But right now the 17, Gavin Rogers putting up a clinic, and right now the 94 of Curtis Young sitting there in the 7th position, kind of at the close to the tail end of this lead pack. But right now everyone just rolling in their own kind of race. A couple of battles going on as we see the 40. It looks like they're trying to make room on Alex Coffey in the 7. Alex Coffey started 7th, so right now he's currently trying to make his way into the 2nd position, and really doing well, and starting again deep in the grid.
Yeah, Alex Coffey did a great job there at Dover last week to get the win. Now coming back here, drove up the 2nd there from the 7th starting spot, and that is really impressive to see. But great battle going on here is Adam Buzzio pushing the 78 of Mason Hollisman there, trying to get by the 3 of TJ Roberts. And he also got the 40 of Ryan and Thomas. So these guys all stacked up right here, about a 1.5 back from Rogers, who's just continuing to gap the field.
Continuing the gap, and he's able to run his own race. And right now, if he wanted to save, he probably could. He has a decent amount of gap, but as we talk, this pack here at the front starts to kind of single file out again. They may regain some of that lost time, but right now doesn't look like that, as there's more battling there for that 3rd position. So these guys side by side. Ooh, looks a bold block by the 78, trying to get in line in front of the 40 of Ryan Thomas, and that just goes to prove he did not want to lose that track position, and track position is key. But speaking of the 2nd pack, Zach, when do you start thinking of a pit strategy? You're far back, you're sitting there just waiting for something to happen. Do you want a short pit when your fuel is open, maybe make something happen and let the leaders mess up while you're on pit road?
Yeah, I think that's going to be a possible strategy for a few guys. It's definitely interesting to say you got 4 sets of tires in pit road. If you come down here halfway through the stage around lap 22 to 23, if you come down halfway, take a set of tires there, you're going to have 3 sets to make it the rest of this race. Then you probably plan on taking another one at the caution. That's going to leave you with 2 sets. Then you still have 2 whole stages to go. So I don't think anybody's going to look to do that. We got the 20 here of Nigel Christensen on our driver cam here. He's looking to close his way up from that 20th position right there, right directly behind Eric Hawk, as these guys aren't too far behind that 2nd pack. So right here hanging in this group is Nigel. But that strategy is definitely going to be implemented here soon, I think. But I don't know if you can waste this set here. I think what we might see here, Carl, is a few guys take it as far as they possibly can. Maybe try to stretch it 39, 40 laps here. Pit at that point, take your 4 tires and fuel, then stay out at that stage caution. So I think that might be some strategy to be in play, but we'll have to see. And, that might be why some of these guys are going so much slower, too. I mean, some guys out here maybe just pacing themselves, just trying to ride along, as that 2nd group is getting wild there tonight. And Chad Bean is right in the middle of 3 wide with John Curtis there in the 00. You got the 19 of Borbell, all of them right there around 12th, all just stacked up going into 1. So this group here, just because they're in position here, farther back, doesn't mean there might not be something that happens between them.
Oh, definitely not. And this could be, again, part of that strategy with Nigel just hanging back there, trying to stay out of the way of anything that may go wrong. But right now, that kind of side-by-side racing was able, allowing this 20 and 22 car to get up to the tail end of this tail pack and make some moves. So already, with the 20 getting close to the one car of Mike Thomas on the inside, was able to see to duck in the line as right on board with the 20. We see that racing in front of you, Zach. Just that feeling of seeing all those competitors in front of you side by side, never knowing who can with it just a little bit, kind of gives you a little bit of anxiety knowing you already have a steep hill to recover early on in this race.
Yeah, this is definitely a stacked up group here that anything at any moment could happen and you could be involved in a major incident. But man, this is some great racing going on back here. As you can see, everybody trying to find lines. It's 3 wide right here ahead of this 20 Machina Christensen. Oof, he's got a great view of all this. And look at him, he's going to make a move here to the inside and try to carry the momentum and try to make the move on the 96 there to Steven T. Cole. But this group, again, being led by Stefan Borbell. It's from 9th all the way back to 20th. This is a giant group of cars.
And keep in mind, we are only 19 laps into this race. We have another 25, 26 laps into the stage, and they're fighting for those last couple of stage points. So for these guys, it could be a little bit meaning, almost running for a win as we look at the 20 go low on the 13 of Ryan Harrison and making it 3 wide out of corner exit there. He's going to take that bottom lane and just try and make it stick with these guys side by side in front of him with the 18 and the car on the outside there of the 23. So these guys battling hard for these positions, trying to get those stage points, knowing a pit stop is possibly coming up. And like you said, Zach, you never know if you're gonna what competitors' strategy they're going to use, but you got to kind of stick to your own guns with the lack of resources, the lack of tires, and maybe, like you said, try and burn each set as far as they can, because 150 laps, that is a long way to go to ask 4 sets of tires.
That it definitely is, and this group here is still just stacked up once again. You got Christian DeRoches there in the 23. He's getting passed there by that 24 machine and Johnny Shade, as they're starting to stack up a little behind him as Cole's getting passed by Christensen. But yeah, this group's starting to break up just a little bit as the drivers up ahead of them are starting to pull away as the Plord and the 38 starting to lead this group.
The 38 and the 19 is Stefan Borbell leading the second group, and that is for 8th position. So right here, the tail end of the points pack of the stage. So that we have the 19, the 56, and the 38. All these guys shuffling back and forth. A lot of racing going on here deep in the pack, and I guess that's just what you got to make of it, Zach. And you may be far away from a lead pack with a little bit different approach, but these guys doing their own racing their own thing. And right now, Stefan Borbell from 2nd, but down to 8th. He's able to stabilize, and looks like he may be able to possibly just barely inch his way to that front pack.
Yeah, he's got about 6 seconds up to him, so it's going to be a while to try to get that gap down. But man, right now, at least got to the lead of it, and everybody running that upper groove, trying to find the grip here late into this run, 23 laps in. But again, Gavin Rogers, I don't know if they just strapped the rocket booster to the 17 out front, but as you can see, he is all alone. The only driver on this racetrack pretty much to be all alone, other than kind of Adam Buzzio, who's kind of fallen into no man's land for himself in 7th. So right now, Rogers continuing to pull away from the group behind him. He's opened up about a 2.5 second gap.
And that just is a great testament to his patience and his willingness to just kind of wait it out. It helps qualifying on the pole, obviously, not having to make those passes, but looking further on in the pack, all of the rest of these guys had to burn up more fuel, burn up more tire, have to use more of their car up to make these passes to get to where they are. And Gavin Rogers just hasn't experienced that, and that's going to be really impressive to see as we go on through the race. But another thing, Zach, that I'm going to be focused on is the 17. He's used to this clean air. What if a mistake happens? What if the pit cycles through odd and he's in the back of the pack? Will that dirty air affect him? Has he had enough practice, and will it be enough to throw him off his game and see who else can lead this race?
Well, I can tell you from, just past experience myself, it's a big difference from being out front to being behind. If is to make a mistake, lose that track position, it will be a tougher time than what he's shown to be right now as he continues to lead this field. But, he's been so quick. It's so impressive to see the gap he has pulled out. But right now, he's going to be hoping that whatever he's doing is the right thing for the rest of this race. Because, again, very long and a lot of time to make plenty of mistakes.
A lot of time indeed, and battle for 8th heating up again as Stefan Borbell is trying to fight off the 38 of Jamie Plord. Again, the back of the mid-pack racing, like this has put on a great race, and again, 4 points with John Curtis in the 00 behind him. Stefan Borbell again qualifying in 2nd place, falling back to that 8th, and maybe under attack by the 38 of Jamie Plord. Jamie Plord actually didn't do too bad last week at all. He got into some trouble, but he finished 17th, but not great. So he's looking to maybe make a rebound from last week as well.
Yeah, looking to make that rebound is Jamie there in 9th position right now, and started 19th. So what a rebound that has been, up Tim's positions there from this point. So doing an excellent job. He's looking to take possibly this 8th position here and lead this 2nd group here. And as we continue to run laps, it's looking to be less and less side-by-side action too, as the tires are starting to fall off here. And we talked about that pit window. It's been open for a driver to make that stop for right around halfway through this stage. But again, I think everybody's going to be elected to take this as far as possible and possibly even stay out of that stage there after this. So we'll see how it works out. Has anybody saved enough fuel? I doubt that, but the numbers that I looked at could have been not in draft either. So draft has a factor when you're, not following, or you're following in the wake of a car ahead of you. You get way more fuel efficiency. It's pretty much the same thing that if you're on the interstate and you were, following a tractor trailer on the road, you would get more fuel efficiency there with less aerodynamic resistance on your car and less drag. So these drivers could be utilizing that technique to possibly stretch the fuel a little farther than I could possibly think.
And the more we talk about this strategy with the tires especially, it almost makes me think of a road course or a super speedway. It's 2 miles long. You really want to work from the end of the race towards the beginning and space those tires out where they're going to be the most useful, and maybe have an extra set of tires for a late race caution. But right now, that's what it's looking like. And as we're looking at the 18 of Blaine there, we are seeing him just try and get that clean air on the low line as we see the 3 cars in front of him take that high line, and that would be the 1938 and the 00 John Curtis. Those 3, the fastest 3 in that line, are taking that high line as the guys behind them are trying to take that low line, take advantage of that clean air, and help that car turn. As we look and we see there the 20 of Nigel Christensen up in the 14th. He was tailing that pack earlier on, Zach, and now he's there mixing it up with some of them as he goes to the outside of the 18 and the 19, taking the inside line, maybe thinking to defend. So a lot of these guys still not comfortable in the cars, and maybe again coming up on lap 30 of this stage, 15 more laps to the end of stage 1. Going 3 wide is Blaine Wilson in the 18. It looks like the 20 almost got there. So these guys are racing hard. He's still trying to get that track position, knowing a pit stop is coming up. And as we see, Zach, got to see give a shout out to the 20. Nigel Christensen was feeling sick last week. Glad he can make it this week and is putting in more laps and already fighting and passing the 18. So good job on the 20 for making it this week.
Yeah, he's done a good job of climbing through the field, too. I mean, up from 14th to 12th here, and he dropped all the way back to the 20th position at one point. So that 20 really charging through. But I tell you what's interesting to be playing out right now is we're starting to see a lot of spacing out between our top front drivers. And what I mean by that is Gavin Rogers, he had that 2.5-second lead, now only 1.9 over Alex Coffey. But Alex Coffey, he's opened up about a 1.5-second lead back to TJ Roberts. So it's pretty similar gaps between first, second, and third right now, as TJ Roberts from there on back has dropped back from these top 2 who have really opened up the gap that you would say.
Open up the gap indeed. And another thing, if I were TJ Roberts right now, I'd be kind of worried to seeing those two front runners kind of leaving him in the dust, but he can't pull away from the 94 or the 40 of Ryan Thomas behind him. And I would be a little concerned for the car in third place with all these pit stops coming up. But as we keep talking, we're seeing these 10th place cars, 12th place cars of 18 of Blaine Wilson mixing it up side by side still in this pack. And once again, went from getting strung out to getting bunched up again to here we go. Looks like Jamie Plourd's going to get passed here by maybe the Nigel Christensen and just quite almost by John Curtis. So these guys feeling the urgency as looks like the 19 is going to go down to block that run from the 00, and Nigel Christensen is going to try and take that other spot. The 38 running a really, really high line, Zach, and these guys doesn't look like they're saving it all. They're trying to give it all they got.
Yeah, trying to use every little bit of grip left in these tires. Always thought about making it possibly 3 wide there for a moment. Was Plourd in the 38. He had a major run through 4 there. This group still stacked up. Curtis on the bottom. And the 19 checks up there a lot. The 38 almost into the back of him, almost gets to the outside wall, trying to miss him. And that stacked everything up as Curtis makes the pass into 00, and the 20 of Nigel Christensen follows him through.
And that just goes to prove those guys have been leading that pack almost since the start of this race, and just like that, they lost it. Now they're in that dirty air again. Stefan Warbill not used to that. He was able to at least stretch it out and enjoy that cleaner just a little bit, and just like that, it is gone. He's going to start to fade back a little bit. So John Curtis and the 20 of Nigel Christensen looking like they say it might have saved just enough to try and give them a last ditch effort in this stage as we are encroaching on lap 34s. We're riding along. That is Adam Buzzio sitting there in that 6th position, qualified 4th, and he had some decent speed on the short run. He fell back, and as did the 40 of Ryan Thomas. They both had a lot of speed, but they have fallen back right now. As looks to me, there may be a pass there for the 3rd position. TJ Roberts under attack by the 94 of Curtis Young. So Curtis Young wasn't here last week, but already this week putting up some good numbers, qualifying 8th, running 4th right now, and trying to make a pass for 3rd. So Zach, great, impressive run for the 94.
Yeah, Curtis Young here putting the pressure on right now for TJ Roberts, and these two have broken away from Ryan M. Thomas and Adam Buzzio, so, and also Mason Halsman. So they broke away from those 3 as Coffey's broke away from them. So these two continuing to battle it up. But man, I tell you, last week's winner, Alex Coffey, he's still continuing to run down Gavin Rogers up front. So watch out for that 7 machine here. Just because we're 10 laps away from this stage ending doesn't mean he can't go up there and get it done here with only a 2.5 gap.
All it takes is one little mistake, one little checkup, and you are in the clutches of the car behind you. As we're seeing there, that is not what the 3 of TJ Roberts wants to do right now. The 94 has been burning up that back bumper, and he is really trying to keep him back there, keep those stage points, and keep that track position. But these guys not doing too bad, but going back to 8th position, the 00 of John Curtis, the 20 of Nigel Christensen. This battle is heating up for 8th and 8th position as Nigel Christensen trying to get a run on the 00 and just can't quite make the pass. These guys want those points. And Zach, how often during the race are you thinking about those points, especially this early on in the season? Are you thinking about that every race, race 1 even?
Yeah, you know, some drivers, I feel like they dial that in and they say, man, they focus on it. They really do, because we've seen in Freaky Fast before in history, just with so many leagues we've done, stage points are so critical to making sure you get to better situations throughout the rest of the season. But as a driver myself, I sometimes personally forget about the stage points. You know, it's something easy to, I would say, you know, get lost in your brain when you're driving out there trying to focus on going as fast as possible. But some drivers, again, like I said, they got it dialed in. They're focused every single lap. They know when that stage is coming, and they're saying, all right, I'm in 7th position. This is how many points I'm going to get. If I can get 2 more spots, this will help me that much. So some guys are out there doing the human calculator, but you know, I think it's a little tough while you're driving.
Tough indeed, especially how tough these cars are to drive, as we're seeing, great battle for third position. The 94 taking the inside line from the 3, and we are on a lap 38, so really we're closing down on only just a handful of laps here left in the stage, and they are going to battle it out door to door, but they are not going to touch. Great run there, but that is going to force the 94 on that inside line. He's going to lose a little bit of that momentum and go back up, bouncing back and forth just a little bit. So again, Zach, these cars are really hard to handle, and if you had any other extra kind of thought process, makes things even more harder, as you said, as these guys battling it hard in the closing stages of the stage.
Yeah, these guys are really going at it for sure. This has been fun to watch all of this play out here, but I'll tell you, the one thing that I've watched is, other than Gavin Rogers and Alex Coffey, the group that's from third on back really to seventh, they've really been struggling when it comes to lap times here with these tires. This group back here around eighth, John Curtis, Nigel Christensen, and Blaine Wilson, all of these drivers back here, all the way to Eric Hawk back in the 22, all of them running way faster times right now than the group up ahead. So they're closing in on Mason Hausman here as we only got 5 to go in this stage. And remember, only the top 10 drivers get points. So right here, there's only 2 spots available of this group that's battling.
And, we touched on it earlier, Zach, aggression versus conservation. And that just goes to prove some of these drivers fell to the back, tried to save some of their stuff, recovered. Others pushed it really hard and tried to get whatever they could earlier on, and it's starting to fade. And that's showing right now as we're riding along this battle for 8th position. The double O of John Curtis has had to fend off the 20 of Nigel Christensen just for a couple of runs. And Blaine Wilson hot on the heels here as well. But as we're talking, the battle for the lead is starting to heat up. Alex Coffey has caught our leader and is falling into the clutches of that lead. So Alex Coffey might have struggled early on in qualifying, but right now on the bumper of our leader, Gavin Rogers. And right now, being this close to the end of this stage, Zach, these guys are racing like they're not expecting to stop.
Yeah, and now looking at it, Carl, he's right all over me here racing for the lead. This is not too surprising now, actually. Looking at the info tab, we don't have 80% fuel load like we were informed of. So these guys are actually going to be able to make it to this lap 45 here, stage caution. And this is not going to be an issue for them. So right there, making the pass is the 7 machine of Alex Coffey in the closing laps of the stage. What a job by him here, as they're just going to be trying to make it to this lap 45, but should be easily done here with a 100% 20-gallon fuel tank here tonight.
Well, there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. We have full fuel, and these guys are racing like it with just a recent pass from the lead. And Zach, Alex Coffey came from 2.5 seconds back to hunt down our leader and overtake him there a couple of laps ago. And right now, Gavin Rogers not giving him any room. He hasn't faded either like you would have expected him to. So I wonder if maybe Gavin saved a little bit, didn't fight too much, and may save his fighting for these last couple of laps of the stage.
It's very possible, but I think the one thing that's played into it is the draft, and right there through the corner, lost out a lot of time and wanted to trying to follow, but down the straightaway, going to try to get any little thing he can back here with the draft, but I don't think it's going to help out, as that 7 is just on rails here tonight on the long run, and he is able to get to this lead here, come to the flag stand, and it's going to be 2 to go in this stage.
2 to go, and they're just about battles everywhere, going back to the intense battle for right around 8th and 9th. All these guys racing hard. They have caught up to the 21 of Adam Buzzio. They're sitting in 5th and 6th with Ryan Thomas sitting there as well. And Ryan Thomas has fallen back. So Adam Buzzio started out a little bit fast, and he just fallen back with Nigel Christensen making a hard charge. And Zach, just like you predicted, that second group was able to catch the kind of stragglers of that first group as we're watching, looking like the 40 of Ryan Thomas really struggling later on in this run. But right now we are at lap 44, leaders are coming across the start finish line right about now, so lap 45. So coming to the closing ends of this stage, these guys are racing hard for every position, trying to get every point.
Yeah, they really are, man. I'll tell you, everybody trying to do whatever they can to gain some time right now. It's going to be a few drivers just skirting into here on the final few laps to get stage points. Blaine Wilson is up to 8th. Stephen Borbell up to 9th. Jamie Plord up to 10th. and it looks like not going to be too much of a fight as Florida's starting to build the gap there from the 10th position on back. So these guys in the closing laps going to steal some points away as Ryan M. Thomas and Mason Halsman, both those drivers struggling very hard here late into these closing laps.
Yeah, Ryan Thomas has definitely been fading these last 10 laps or so, and fading really, really quickly as we see a caution for the end of the stage. So, ladies and gentlemen, really caution-free stage, green flag racing, but you saw plenty of side-by-side action here on Freaky Fast in the Irish Hills at Michigan. So these guys are going to start rolling around, and they're going to get service. We will go to commercial. When we come back, we'll get some service as well, and we will be right back with some more Freaky Fast action. So these guys have been, Zach, battling back and forth, left and right. I know I need a drink, so this is going to be fun.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting, man. But yeah, like you said, we're going to step aside here, folks, for our first commercial break of the night here at the Michigan International Speedway here at the Irish Spring Hills for 150 laps here, as our first 45 laps have been complete. Thank you all for tuning in. We'll be right back here with the Wicked Racing League.
And welcome back, race fans, to Michigan. We have run 45 laps, had a stage winner, and if you were looking at the side-by-side, you saw the 7 of Alex Coffey. He won the stage, made a great pass towards the end, but had a mistake on pit road, slid through his box, and just like that, again, mired in the pack. So he raced a almost flawless stage, but here he is, one simple mistake on pit road, and it all comes falling apart. But there's still a lot of racing here to go tonight for the Wicked Racing League, and as we are looking at the flagman, we are getting ready to, well, we're graded like we're one to go, but we're not going to go one to go just yet. So Zach, thoughts on the first stage? A lot of side-by-side racing, some touching, but for the most part, clean and fun.
Yeah, definitely a really good stage there, and interesting scenario here is I haven't seen this one before. We didn't even get an extended yellow either, so definitely a little bit of a wild scenario there with our car. There is actually, you know, I think I figured out these guys are so ready to go back racing, Carl. They got lined up 1 lap early, so that makes sense for us. They're getting ready to get it going back here for stage 2, man. But yeah, that first stage was very, very interesting. We had Alex Coffey, you know, drive from 7th up to the lead. He did lose those spots like you brought up there to back to 5th now. But, you know, after he's already started 7th, I think he's proven that he can do it once again. So we'll see how they can make it last here. We got to go all the way to lap 90 there for our next stage of the night's race. And we'll see how it plays out from there, man.
We will see indeed, and it looks like pit road played out really well for the 94 of Curtis Young. He was a couple spots back there before the pit stop cycle in the stage, and right now he's leading this field to green with the 17 of Gavin Rogers on the outside and the 00. John Curtis, we talked about him a lot last week at Dover. He's been mired in the middle of the pack for the majority of that first stage. Here we are in the second row inside line, and the Blythe Ruff car this time, so this is looking promising to go green today. And there it is, the green flag in Barney's hand. The cars are getting to the restart zone, and we are away. The 94 with a great restart coming out of turn 4. Green flag waving free, and these guys are racing again at Michigan. Off
and away they are down to turn 1. And if you folks out there enjoying tonight's broadcast, make sure you check out that poll we got out there in chat. We got a question out there to see if there will be another yellow out there tonight. So let's see if that happens. And we're not considered the stage caution as a yellow. So there will be another stage caution, but other than that, we're gonna see if there'll be an incident here tonight brings out some type of yellow. But just as we say that, Gavin Rogers, he takes no time there to storm back to the lead in 17.
No time at all. Gavin Rogers showing that he has the speed, and I was curious earlier, we mentioned the dirty air and possibly having that effect and not being used to it leading the entire race, but that didn't look to affect him at all as he made no work whatsoever of the 94 in no time, getting around him as the leader. And already the top 6 cars are strung out on the track and looking to our 7th place position under attack. Ryan Thomas by the number 3 of TJ Roberts for the 7th position. So already we're starting to see a couple of different packs start to form. The 40 not showing that short run speed, but Zach, could that be a result? He might have learned something in the first stage, burned his stuff up too quick, and now he's learning he has to preserve it for 45 more laps.
Yeah, I think a few guys learned that man, you can really go up there and roast the tires. I think a lot of guys are going to take a little bit more of a conservative approach possibly here in this next stage to try to make their tires last a little bit better. So it'll be interesting to see how it all plays out. But at the moment, riding on board with this 40 machine of Ryan Thomas, like we said, he was one that really struggled. This is interesting to see John Curtis up to 4th too. So great job by him here on this last restart to really gain some great track position. He was running good times at the end of the last run, but was just mired back well too far.
And with John Curtis, we mentioned him a lot last week. He led about 7 laps, finishing 2nd. And looking as we drive, we see the driver cam. Look how steady that wheel is. Look at him ride that high line. Doesn't look like he has very much stress at all. And really smooth. And Zach, these guys haven't really battle too much as we already seen a breakaway with these guys behind him. But so far, so good with a lot of these drivers, and it seems to be a distinct separation between the top 7-8 cars, especially earlier on in the run, seeing these breakaways. And ooh, John Curtis got a little bit of an incident, a little squirrely there on exit at turn 4, and that just goes to prove how tricky this track can be. We know the Tricky Triangle is known for being tricky, but this has its own set of bag of tricks here in the Irish Hills.
Yeah, you know, this track's very, very similar in stature, so definitely somewhere to compare to. But, you know, right now, Curtis doing a good job here on this last restart to get up here. This group's broken away. Our top 6 all the way back to Stefan Wardwell is broken away, but TJ Roberts, who was up in that front group for majority of the time, he's fell back to 7th with Eric Hawk, Ryan Thomas, Jamie Plord, Johnny Shade, and also looks like Mike Thomas in the War Machine. So this group all back here stacked up.
Stacked up and side by side as we see the 38 of Jamie Plord try and make a pass on the 22 of Eric Haug. And these guys have been fighting almost for the second stage on, and especially Jamie Plord starting really far back in 19th position. Eric Haug in the 20th position. These guys fighting mid-pack, so it's actually kind of impressive being able to battle your way through about half the field, get up there, get some stage points. But as we're running along the 3 of TJ Roberts, it doesn't quite have the speed that we saw in the first stage. And again, Zach, maybe possibly a situation of more saving going on, knowing that we have a long stage ahead of us.
Yeah, I think this could be what's playing out. If you think a few guys learn this, and then that I can't go out there and do that exact same thing to my tires, it would just really, really eat away at them, and it's tough to do, man. But he's right now in that 7th spot. The only biggest thing is he's gained up a lot of time, and what we've seen from the last run, the drivers who gained up a lot of time, it was hard for them to make that time back up. So it could take that stage caution or another caution to help bring him back into it.
And it usually does depend on the caution. You never know when it can fall, if it falls. And these guys don't seem to be waiting for it either. They've been able to run green, run clean, and run really fast laps. In fact, looks like Kevin Rogers, our leader, just ran the fastest lap or at least his fastest lap last lap. So he's not looking to take any prisoners. But the 3 of TJ Roberts, not having that speed. And Zach, as a driver, how do you temper yourself knowing you got to go fast, you got to make sure you got to get those positions, but at the same time saving your equipment? And sometimes that means letting other drivers by. As a racer, how hard could that be?
Oh man, it can be so tough to hold yourself back and know I can't race right now, knowing that it'll do something wrong to me later in the race. So it's always tough as a driver to weigh those options, and that's on the drivers to do that. And we'll see who manages it the best here in this current stage here. Is like I said, getting to lap 90 here when we come by in the next 2 laps. It'll be 30 laps till that point. And when we saw that last run, the fall off really starts to happen there in those last really 20 laps of it.
Yeah, and that's where we saw Alex Coffey really show his speed. He was able to run down, close a 2.5-second lead down and make that pass. And this also just unfortunate for Alex Coffey being there in the 4th position after having some incident in pit road. He kind of overshot his pit box just a little bit. He had to reverse, and that'll cost you precious seconds. And it's almost worse using and having those mistakes during a caution, because everyone's already bunched up and already ready to make that pass versus a green flag stop. But I can only imagine how frustrated Alex is right now with himself after that mistake.
Yeah, he's got to be frustrated, but he knows he's still, I think, in a good spot. And I think from what he showed last run, he'll be able to march his way back up there with the long run if he can just manage that same thing. Sometimes, though, as a driver, you can get kind of baited into not managing as well the next run. I know I've had times where myself I feel like I managed very well for a run, and then the next run I come out and do the same exact thing, and it didn't equate to the same stuff. So sometimes that track can change. Sometimes even you can make a minute change as a driver that you don't even know, and it'll catch you off guard and really put you off of your best effort. So Coffey going to try to work his way back up there, but we'll see how it works out. But looking back here to Chad Bean, he's about the last car here in this group of drivers from about 12th on back.
both on back. He's there with Mike Thomas. Nigel Christensen, after a valiant charge later on in the run to snag some dangling stage points against a pack in 14th, where he qualified and has to make his march all the way back. Right here is battle between Mike Thomas and the 96 of Steve Cole. Steve Cole is a couple of laps down, unfortunately. So right now, the one is just trying to run his own race, not fight too hard against a lapped car. While everyone looks like is this time, Zach, we have about 3 distinct packs. We have the front pack of the first 7 cars. It looks like 7. The second pack with about 5 cars, and then there's a third pack with another 6 cars. All of these guys kind of racing hardly at the 22, trying to make a pass on the 3 of TJ Roberts for 2nd place, or 7th place, I'm sorry. And as the 22 goes into turn 1, he has a 78 of Mason Houseman right behind him. So these guys really trying to maneuver their way. And it does look like, Zach, these cars are a little more different to handle. And it looks like to me that the temp has gone down. So at a track like Michigan this big, is a cool temperature a better temperature or a worse temperature?
Yeah, it can do different things to the balance. Here in Michigan, it's a place where personally you want, if your balance is kind of tight, you probably don't want those colder temperatures. That's going to speed the racetrack up, going to make the nose push a little bit more and lose a little bit less grip, and that rear end gain a lot of grip. If you're a little bit loose, you probably want to see those cold temperatures to gain that front grip. But man, from what I've seen, it looks like a lot of guys are pretty tight. It doesn't seem to be too much of a loose condition out here tonight. It seems to be more of a pushing of the nose, and everybody trying to manage that from this point. As you look at this battling going on here, is Plord in the 38. He's trying to make something happen on the 78 of Halsman, who's 1 lap down there racing with these guys, but just couldn't make it happen. Slots in behind him.
And Mason, I can understand, is definitely racing for that free pass position. We have 25 laps until the stage, and as long as he stays the first car a lap down, he will get that free pass. But again, as a lapped car, how hard do you want to push? You don't want to put the competitors that are on the lead lap in a bad position, because that could just make a bad day worse. And want to be careful about that. But it looks like Mason Houseman has the speed to hang with these guys, so he's going to try and do what he can and make the best out of it.
Yeah, like you said, Carl. You just got to make the best out of it, really. I mean, right now, only car a lap down is him, and Steve T. Cole is 2 laps down. So, he's in a good spot to get that lucky dog for this next stage, as long as nobody else goes a lap down, and that's what he's going to be hoping. He's going to be hoping drivers like Mike Thomas there, who was 15 seconds back from Gavin Rogers, doesn't go a lap down this stage, and I don't expect that to happen. This is a long racetrack. You'd have to be giving up a considerable amount of time to go a lap down here in about 40 laps of what the stage is.
So there's definitely some confidence there, and as long as he can stay ahead, that will definitely help his situation. But as we're riding along here, the 94 of Curtis Young has set up a decent gap, maintained about a 4/10 of a second gap to the leader, the 17 of Gavin Rogers, and then behind him another 1.1 second gap to the 7 of Alex Coffey, who just recently made a pass on Adam Buzzio in the 21. So Alex Coffey showing his old tricks from last stage, Zach, using that saving method and able to have speed at the midpoint to end of this run. So right now, the 94 and 17 might be thinking, especially the 17, what is in the 7's tank right now? What is he thinking? How is he doing this? Because you don't want to get to this lead and then lose it with a couple of laps to go on the stage.
Yeah, I think Gavin Rogers is rethinking that last stage over, maybe, and even maybe pacing himself a little more. I mean, you got to think he pulled out about a 2.5 second lead. If he would have paced himself probably just a little bit more, Coffey might not have been able to run him back down. So maybe this run's doing a little bit better job of that out front here. We'll see if that equates to a better finish in this stage, but that's something we'll have to see, because right now, Curtis Young, he's been the one putting the pressure on Rogers, but at the same time, I have seen Curtis Young start to get a little bit tight. The nose start to push on that 94, and that is usually when you tend to start to fade backwards.
You start to fade backwards, and Zach, I mean, maybe correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like these cars have a point where they get tight, and then they get really, really loose, and all within a span of about 3 to 5 laps, depending on the track, depending on the weather. But that's one thing I've noticed about these cars, and I was noticing on a couple of laps last stage break, that it went from tight to loose. They were getting the rear ends into the corners, into the corner walls and corner exits. So with that kind of a swing, can you account for that? Is there any way you can counteract that, or is it just something you have to deal with?
Personally, it's kind of something where you just kind of got to deal with. It's a tough situation to be put in as a driver, but it's something we deal with a lot of times, and unfortunately, a lot of times you just got to deal with that situation. So right now, Hawk right here trying to run this outer groove and stay ahead of this 38 machine, but it's been tough as that 24 got by both of them there. Johnny Shade and smoothed his way up to 8th.
And Hauk doing a great job starting in the very back of the pack, starting in 20th. So that 22 machine has made gains. He's made it up into the top 10 for stage 1. Now sitting in the top 10 for this second stage. This pack seems to be a little more spread out. And a lot of these drivers looking to maybe conserve a lot more than they might have in that first stage. We've seen a couple different drivers hanging out in the front, hanging out in the middle of the pack. So these guys a little bit more spread out with racing this second stage. But as we're running along with this, we'll give a shout out to one of our primary sponsors here at Freaky Fast Broadcasting, and that is Advanced Sim Racing. They were founded in 2020 and are the fastest growing North American chassis manufacturer equipment retailer. They're owned and operated by passionate sim racers like yourself and myself. They design, build, and do the most rigorous testing on the sturdiest and most durable aluminum profile racing simulation cockpits available. Go check them out. We love having them all as a sponsor. Spell it out, Freaky Fast 5, the discount code. They will give you 5% off your entire order. And again, got to thank Advanced Sim Racing for helping us bring this just awesome racing, awesome event here to the fans on YouTube, on Twitter, on Facebook. You like us, make sure you subscribe and get the notifications every time we go live, and you will not miss a second of this action as the 38 of Jamie Plord is trying to make a pass back on the 22 of Hauk. So these guys, even though it's for 8th and 9th, fighting hard, and knowing those stage points mean oh so much.
Yeah, stage points mean oh so much for sure, and that stage caution is looming here as we're under 20 laps to go, and I think that gives us a perfect time here with our stage caution looming to give a shout out to Admin Box. That's right, Admin Box, one of our newest sponsors here at Freaky Fast Broadcast, and it's race control at your fingertips. Each Admin Box connects via USB. It features pre-programmed commands for race control, driver functionalities, and pit options with LED backlighting that makes each button highly visible in any situation. So make sure you head on over to adminbox.com, and that's adminbox with 2 X's there. Use that discount code FFB/box with 2 X's there to get that discount, and you can have race control at your fingertips.
And definitely love all the sponsors that help bring this action to you guys. And with that, the 38 of Jamie Plord was able to get by the 22 of Eric Hauk, and already is trying to make a pass on Johnny Shade in the 24 machine. And right there we see it side by side through these front straightaway, passing the flag stand into the corner. Man, Jamie really trying to utilize that draft force and side draft to get around that 24, but that just slows the both of you down. We've seen it all day, Zach, as you get 2 cars side by side. If you can't make that pass quick, you're slowing both of those cars down.
Yeah, if you don't get that pass done quickly, like you said, side-by-side action is always going to slow you down as a group. So it is something you want to get done quickly, and also that driver leader side-by-side wants to get done quickly, because that driver behind there, Eric Hauk, he probably was looking to make something happen, but just couldn't do it. As the 38 of Plord gets tight. Now the 24 Shade comes back to take his position back.
He's going to take his position back, but a lot of these guys kind of have balanced out, not as much shifting and changing, except this battle back here. These guys are battling really hard, but here's the 18 Blaine Wilson and the 40 of Ryan Thomas. Those guys have been kind of on their own, doing their own thing, trying to catch the group in front of them, and that would be the 22 of Eric Hauk, who we were just actually on board. So these guys trying to stay single file, trying to catch up to that second pack as leaders cross the start finish, indicating halfway done with the entirety of this race. We still have 15 laps in this stage, though, and we know fuel isn't an issue. Tires will be, though. though, as we look along, and that's the 7 of Alex Coffey. Once he made the pass on Adam Buzzio, he was not able to get away from him either. So this is interesting, seeing the live cam of Alex Coffey. We see how smooth, how focused he is, but he has not been able to establish a gap between him and the 21 behind him.
Yeah, he hasn't opened it up yet, but we'll see if he's able to do it just like he did the run before. It's about 1.8 seconds up to Gavin Rogers, he's got literally Curtis Young all over the back deck lid of him. This is going to be impressive to see. Can Coffey make something happen? But right now, Buzzio looking to the inside. This is not going to help them here when it comes to time-wise, though. They're going to make a little contact there. As you can see, the grips there really coming up.
Oh, that was definitely a scary situation for both of those cars, because Adam Buzzio lost the front end on that just a little bit, had to slide up, got a little bit into the side of the 7, but no harm, no foul, as they are still going side by side through turn 3 and 4, coming down the front straightaway, and that pass is still not completed by Adam, but right behind him is John Curtis, hoping either of these drivers make a mistake and he can capitalize. So Zach, once again, side-by-side racing, proven to be a detriment to some of these cars.
Yeah, they lost a little bit of time to our leaders up front, and Curtis right there behind him. He's been able to give him the good push there, the two teammates of the 7 and the 00, to get by Adam Buzzio. Now we'll see if they both can catch up to him and, run that gap down to Gavin Rogers and Curtis Young. But at the moment, it's been a great race here in this second stage.
Great race indeed here in the Irish Hills of Michigan for the Wicked Racing Series, the Wheelhouse 175. These guys have been racing hard all night long, and as we're running back, these guys they get lined up with that draft, as we mentioned, and then as the corner comes, they fan out, get whatever clean air and track position they can find with whatever grip they prefer, and try and make these passes just not coming to them as the way they want it. As we see, that's the 00 of John Curtis, the 21 of Adam Buzzio behind the 7 of Alex Coffey. These guys are racing side by side, Zach. And I've noticed, we talked about it in practice and in qualifying, the dark strip versus the light strip, the low line versus the high line. And right now, that is really starting to expand, and that dark strip is starting to get wider and wider out on that track.
Yeah, these guys have really been using pretty much the whole racetrack, other than really right up against the wall. Majority of these guys have been every single spot on this racetrack, from the white line all the way almost up to that wall. So it's been impressive to see them using every single bit of grip they can out of this racetrack and try to find something. But at the moment, closing in on that stage when they cross the line here, it's going to be 10 to go here in stage number 2. At the moment, Rogers still got a 2-second lead back to this group, but still Curtis Young right in tow with him in the 94. He's looking to hang strong here all the way to the end.
And speaking of Curtis Young, I'm really curious as to... I really wanted to examine his brain after this, because he has not had more than a 0.3 of a second lead from the leader since the drop of the green flag of this stage. The 94 has stayed in the tracks of the 17 and at times has looked faster than the leader, but has yet to make the pass. Is that just good saving? Is the 94 just doesn't have the kind of speed? Or is the 94 saving something for the 17 at the end? It's kind of bewildering to me, Zach.
It definitely is. It's interesting to see that he's been able to stay with him as long as he has, especially with how fast Rogers has been this race. But, man, right now, the 94, he has found something in this second stage to be able to compete with this 17 for the whole entire run. And we'll see if the last 10 laps, if he can keep it together. But just as we say that, the big mistake happens. Hard into the outside wall down the back straightaway, coming out of 2. And look at the gap grow there from that place. And, man, oh, man, the 94 going backwards at this point. Coffey going to be looking to probably take that position here in the next few laps.
Yeah, he is definitely going to fall back by about a half a second. Still has about a 1.2 second gap between himself and the third place of Alex Coffey. But that was just unfortunate timing there, Zach. Here we are praising him. He's doing so well, and he just rubs the wall the wrong way and loses a ton of time. And right now, still look like he is falling back. So once he fell out of the tire tracks, as it were, of that 17 machine, he is struggling. And this whole cluster of cars with the the 78, the 38, and that is the 3 of TJ Roberts. These guys passing hard, racing hard. The 78 a lap down, but trying to do anything and everything he can to make sure he's the only car a lap down, as he looks like he kind of cuts off the 24. And oh, the 22 of Eric Howkins is going to get really high trying to go around the 24, and he's going to get into the wall as well. So Zach, already the handling on these cars is going away, and some of these guys are starting to fade.
It's starting to fade back. They are, as we continue to march towards that stage ending here at lap 90. And man, oh man, it's starting to be a little bit of a replay of what we've seen before. Tires fading in the final 10 to 15 laps of the run, and this is in that ballpark of that range. And right now, drivers trying to make up ground, and the one driver that's making up the most ground, I gotta say, is Alex Coffey. Once again, he's starting to really cut into the lead of Gavin Rogers, but the problem for him, he's now caught Curtis Young in the 94. How is he going to be able to get around him, and how quickly can he get that done without trying to be held up?
And as we talk here, the 7 is going to look to the inside, and that just goes to prove, you got to think that the gear shift. The 94 went to trying to battle for the lead, trying to make that pass, and now he's trying to defend and trying to keep the guy behind him. And just as that thought process goes through, as we see the 7 try and make the pass down the back straightaway, Zach, is there a certain mentality change between defending and attacking? And does that change with whoever you're driving, or just your position on track as well?
It can change with driver to driver. I mean, certain drivers are going to defend a little harder, maybe knowing that they'll give you a little bit more room and you can, possibly use them up a little bit more. But some drivers, you got to give them a little bit of extra room. You got to give them a little bit more space. They might try to reach out there and get a little greedy for that space on the racetrack, and it might end up hurting yourself. So you always got to be looking for that, but it definitely can depend on the driver that you're racing, on how you race them and how you defend. But right now, the 94 tires are showing is, we're going to look to make a move here on this 21 of Buzzio.
Riding on with Buzzio, you saw him get almost into the back deck lid of that 94, and that 94 not dealing well with that damage from a couple of laps ago, getting into the outside wall, but it looks like he's going to hold off the 21 of Buzzio for just a little bit longer, as we are on lap 87. Ooh, man, Buzzio dives down on the inside of turn 1, just a huge dive bomb trying to make that slide job work. He's going to skirt up the track and close off the line to the 94. So, Zach, I think that's a textbook way how you want to make a pass at this track. Didn't slow anyone down and took just the corner.
Yeah, like you said, textbook pass for sure, as he made that look very, very easy there as he clears by the 94 to pull himself up into the 4th position. Great job by Buzzio. As you can see, Coffey and Curtis there, our top 2 from last week at Dover, right there directly ahead of them. We'll see how it works out, but right now, they've got about a 1.6 second gap up to Rogers, and with only 3 laps to go here in the stage, that is going to be an improbable gap.
Yeah, I definitely doesn't think it's going to happen unless something extreme really transpires on the track at the moment. But right now, a lot of these guys just holding on to the end of the stage, holding on to dear life. In the case of some of these guys, as we've seen, tires start to fade, cars get loose, cars get tight, and the 21 of Adam Buzzio stands solid there in that 4th position, but doesn't look like we're going to go too much further than that. And there's the 00 Curtis. We have the 19 is Stefan Borbell sitting there in 5th. We saw him have a rough, kind of a rocky start, qualifying in 2nd, fell all the way back, almost at the back of the pack, and had a decent recovery at the end of stage 1. And this stage, Stefan's been able to kind of stabilize and not lose too many spots, not gain too many spots, and just be in a good position as we roll along lap 89. These leaders about to take across the line for lap 90.
Yeah, coming across here, going to be taking that last lap to start this stage. Gavin Rogers done an excellent job here to not let that group close in this time and get to his back bumper and have a shot to steal the stage from him. So right here, going to look to cruise on this final lap to get that stage win as that 17 machine.
17 already trying to get this stage win, as the last stage just kind of slipped through his fingers with Alex Coffey proving to have the dominant car on the long run. But right now it's going to be Gavin Rogers with very little in the way of impedance and effort. Looks like he makes it look easy. He's going to cross the line. So a lot of these guys looking at stage points, and there is this 17 of Gavin Rogers. He crosses the line, completing lap 75. And therefore ending this stage, and that is what the caution is for. Zach, 2 stages, 2 cautions for stage, otherwise clean. That pole, ladies and gentlemen, hit that pole. We have a lot of good racing going on. Will we still see another caution after this?
That is going to be the question for sure, Carl, but congrats to Gavin Rogers there on the stage win. But it's that time once again, folks. We're going to hit our second commercial break of the night here at Freaky Fast Broadcasting. It's been a pleasure so far through the 90 laps we've had here tonight at the Wicked Racing League here at the Michigan International Speedway. It has been a great pleasure to call because, man, these boys have been putting on one heck of a show. You're not going to miss anything. We're going to head side by side here at Freaky Fast Broadcasting at the Wicked Racing League. So don't tune away. We'll be right back.
Start your engines! 4, 3, 2, 1, green screen. No layer grip whatsoever, up sideways. Sideways everywhere. Come on, man, show what you can. The vibration in this car is the worst vibration that I've ever had, and the shifter's broken again.
welcome back, race fans, just in time for the green flag to drop for the start of stage 3. John Curtis getting a great restart after, on the green flag, getting around the 17 of Gavin Rogers, arguably the fastest car all night long, Zach. And we've seen some of these restarts come and go, and right now looks like Adam Buzzio starting to fade already, but we've mentioned it. Oh, the 94 is going to get into the back of the 21 machine. The 21 trying to back up that corner a little bit, and the 94 was just not prepared for that. And that's going to battle them up here. The 19, Blaine Wilson, going to take the inside, as well as I think that's the 23 behind them. So these guys, one little incident, battled up early on here in stage 3.
Yeah, it's all bottled up for sure here right now as everybody back in this mid-pack trying to find spots. Somehow no contact, but Ryan Thomas up the racetrack in the 40 from a little bit of contact from a driver beside him. It is all heating up now. It's a battle for the lead, even two up front, as John Curtis is trying to hold off Gavin Rogers as Rogers surges forward. This is everybody going for it here. Is this the final stage of tonight's race? This is when the money counts.
When the money counts, indeed. And Zach, we've hit it on it all night. They have 4 extra set of tires. They've used 2. We have 60 laps left in this stage. Yellow, crazy yellow, could reset everything here at Michigan for the Wicked Racing League. And these guys racing like it. We've seen back and forth, up and down, and just like that, with 100% fuel load, Zach, we know we can't make it all 60 laps. How many laps do you think we can make? And with that, when would you come?
You know, personally, Carl, I think those guys are going to be right around the lap 50 marker is what they can make. So right under the distance of what they need. So I'm thinking around 125, you might see pit road start opening up. A few guys starting to make it busy, or a few guys might elect to do it a little bit earlier. Technically, all you would need to do is get to probably around lap 105 to really make yourself feel for sure and confident about making it to the end of this race. We've seen them do 45 laps very easily tonight. So if they get to that point, they could be able to short stop it from there. But right now, some great battles going on as Rogers hasn't been able to get by Curtis. Curtis is showing some muscle right here, not allowing this 17 to get out front and do what he's done all race and pull away.
It took John Curtis all race to get here, as he started in 12th with a poor qualifying effort. But here he is battling it door to door next to Gavin Rogers. But sitting there in the catbird seat is the 7 of Alex Coffey. We've seen how well he can save, how well off he is on the long run. And as these two fight side by side, Alex Coffey's just sitting there and running his own line, but been able to gain on these cars. So these guys driving side by side, all these drivers racing hard, and Gavin Rogers still can't make the pass on the 00 of John Curtis. So John Curtis is going to retain the lead and lead another lap here at Michigan, as Alex Coffey sitting there just waiting for his moment to strike.
Yeah, I think he's, like you said, waiting for that moment to strike there, Carl, and that's going to be his utilization of that, as Rogers is really having to use the tires up to try to get around John Curtis, teammate Alex Coffey. So this is playing right into Coffey's hands. He loves what he sees right here, no doubt, as Rogers once again trying to make that inside lane work. But John Curtis, he's just being so consistent up top, not allowing that 17 to make anything happen. Here comes a little side draft into 3. Can the 17 make it work here in 3 and 4? This will be the time if he's going to be able to get it done. If he can here, he's going to try to clear him up off of turn 4, and he will slide up to the lead as John Curtis now going to make the decision. Does he go inside? Does he go back to the outside as the 17 gives up the outside? The 00 looks there, but the 17 covers it all.
And here we go with all this racing at the front. It has brought the rest of the pack with them. They had nearly a 1-second gap between them and the rest of the pack, and just in the blink of an eye, Alex Coffey and company are following in their race tracks here as the 00 takes away that outside line with a good push from Alex Coffey. Alex Coffey and John Curtis having some good teamwork, and there's the 94 of Curtis Young as well in 4th position. Had a little incident getting to the bumper of the 21 earlier, but looks like he's recovered, sitting there in 4th position. And just like that, we are a single file for at least the first 10 cars. So these guys already, these drivers knowing that tire consumption is going to be key in tire degradation, looking to maybe save just a little bit to pounce on these leaders later on.
Yeah, I think you're also seeing a light here too, is everybody's a lot closer here too. They know it's a 60 lap run pretty much from where that stage caution came out. And with that factor there of that 60-lap run, these guys know they're not going to be going that 45 laps like they've been doing majority of the night. They're probably only going to be going 30, maybe 35 laps here on these tires. So maybe electing to push a little bit harder is this 7 of Coffee, who's looking all over the back bumper of his teammate here of John Curtis. Will he try to make this move down to 1? It's like this moment going to stay behind.
He's going to stay behind. It looks like I've seen the 7, he kind of backs up those corners quite a bit more than a lot of his other competitors, with John Curtis running along right now. Seeing the 17 of Gavin Rogers start to build a little bit of a gap, about 0.2 of a second, but he is not free of that draft, that slipstream that John Curtis is using. So John being able to utilize that slipstream just enough to maintain some track position as Jamie Ford in the 38 running 6th right now. He's been running impact all night, finds himself up here near the top 5 is Jamie Ford with the 3 behind him, it looks like. So, and Adam Buzzio falling back hard, starting 3rd on this restart, falling back to 8th, it looks like. So Adam Buzzio struggling early on. Ooh, it looks like he almost gets into the outer wall there.
Yeah, it's something you don't want to do here at Michigan, is get into that outside wall. Don't want to have any type of damage on that race car, as it will definitely be affecting the performance of that race car heading into the rest of the night. But man, oh man, some great racing going on right here. But again, like I said, it's just way more stacked up than before. Here comes the 38, trying to make the move on the 94 here. Lord looking to get into the top 5 here tonight. That is a great drive up from him from that 19th position.
Great drive indeed, almost from 20th. So Jamie Ford trying to make gains. And we've seen the 94 have speed earlier on in the race. He was neck and neck, bumper to bumper with our leader, Gavin Rogers. But 94, after some contact with the outside wall in stage 2, hasn't quite found the same speed that he saw earlier. And as we watch in the 38 in this 3 battle with the 94, in comes the 21 of Adam Buzzio and the 18 of Blaine Wilson. So all this battling, bringing all these cars back together, as looks like Flord is going to fall back just a little bit to TJ Roberts. So Flord, after trying to make a pass on Roberts, loses the spot, maybe 2, as the 21 goes high.
Yeah, this group is really racing hard, but we look back to the second group now. This is going to be the likes of, it looks like the 40 car of Ryan Thomas back here with the 9 of Chad Bean, the 22 Eric Hawk, the 20 of Nigel Christensen. You also got Richard Wilshire and Johnny Shade here, all from the 16th position on up to around 10th there, with Mason Halsman leading this group. So a good-sized group here again forming in this second pack.
And Zach, you just mentioned Mason Hausman. He spent all of stage 2 a lap down with that stage caution. He was able to get the lucky dog, finds himself in that 10th position. But unfortunately for him, we are out of stages. This is it. There are no more stage points. So it doesn't matter if you finish 10th or 9th or 8th or whatever, but you need those points. But a win is a win, and looks like the 40 of Ryan Thomas is going to get right up to the bumper of the same day going into turn 3, really pushing the 78 into turn 3. And Zach, that makes me wonder, how hard do you want to push your opponent into those corners? Because we know how treacherous that outside wall is, especially on corner exit.
Well, that is sometimes a good technique to use to make a pass. You know, sometimes you'll shove a guy so hard down the front straightaway, he'll be going, 5 to 10 mile an hour faster than what he would if you weren't there behind him pushing him. And that can throw off a person's corner entry, and they could very well get into that wall. So sometimes some drivers utilize it to make drivers overdrive that corner. As behind him is 3 wide with Chad Bean in the middle. Old Thomas almost up into the 22 of Eric Hawk there, as they're trying to make something happen around the 78 of Mason Halsman, who, like you said, got back on this lead lap, now trying to make his way back forward.
Trying to make his way, but also keep everyone behind him. We were right along with the 56 of Wolsifer there, and he has been kind of back and forth. You see the 40 kind of cut him off on that line, and he just had that momentum to take the low line. But a lot of these drivers preferring to try and use the middle to high lines for a run, but definitely using the low lines for the pass. And right now you see he stays aligned low. He can't quite make the pass. Ooh, getting really tight there to the 40 of Thomas, but keeping it clean right now. He's going to take another shallow entry to turn 3. And Zach, this is where we were talking, where that right front really wants to warm up. you're not rotating that car enough, and that's where your right front problems start to develop.
Yeah, right front problems developing, but I tell you what's developing for our leader is that number 7 machine, Alex Coffey. He has now got the help of John Curtis, and he's got to the outside of Gavin Rogers, who last lap got into the outside wall here, coming off a 2. Now the 7 darts to the outside. The 17 can't close it out there. Now the 7, big run here. The 00 going to look to help him there with the teammate. He could possibly clear down here in 3, but this has been Gavin Rogers' strong suit. Has been right here of the bottom on 3 and 4, really able to roll very well down there, and been usually able to get the pass done and clear, but not this time again. The 7 able to get there, but they're going to be side by side once again heading down the 1.
Side by side as they cross the stripe, but Zach, teamwork makes the dream work, and 2 cars versus 1. 2 cars will always win, as I've heard before. 8 tires turn better than 4, and the 17 was trying to cut off the run of the 7 and just got a little too tight, had to get out of the throttle. The 7 gonna dive down, gather his teammate in the draft, and here we are, just like that, ladies and gentlemen. We have a lead change for the lead. The 7, Alex Coffey in front, but right now, Stefan Borbell had some earlier incidents. We saw him fall back in the first stage, has fought and clawed, starting second, but now he sits in 4th. And as we ride along, we have the driver cam, and we see him focused, laser focused, and that wheel is really, really smooth, Zach. And on a track like Michigan, a smooth wheel means a happy handling driver, or a happy handling car, and a happy driver.
That it can, Carl. And right now, Stefan Borbell, he's probably liking what he saw there. That battling going on up front there, that allows him to just close in that little bit more that he needs to be able to do here in the closing laps of this race. And man, as this race clicks away, I mean, like I said, that pit window gets closer and closer of when do you want to decide to finally come down. Like I said, I think around 125 is when you're going to see a few guys decide to do it, but we could see it happen even sooner than that.
And as we're talking, it looks like the 94 is actually just pit himself, and that actually put him a lap down. So the 94 already deciding to take tires here with 38 laps to go, and that may be the last race or the last pit stop the 94 will need to make unless something happens crazier on and get a late race restart. But the 19 rolling around the track really well, is sitting solidly in 4th position. And Zach, I guess in terms of pit strategy, do you want to stick to your own strategy, or do you want to see what the drivers around you are doing to see if you can capitalize?
It's always good to pay attention to the drivers around you. You know, you want to know what they're doing, what position they're doing, and when they're coming down. But you know, I wouldn't change my strategy too much for someone else's strategy. If you feel like that's the right way to go, you need to stick to what you feel and go with your gut there. But man, it could always be one of those second-guessing moments as a driver. Again, that's the one thing about sim racing that's so interesting. A lot of times, you know, us sim racers out there, we're doing this alone. It's a one-man operation. There's no spotter. There's no crew chief. You know, that's all done by the simulator. And you know, not always are those going to be correct. And, man, I can tell you, as a driver, trying to, you know, figure out your pit strategy on the fly while you're racing, it can have an effect not only on what you're doing out on the track, but also the strategy you come up and formulate. You know, you got a lot going on in your head. You know, it's hard to really get something perfect when you're out here going 200 mile an hour almost.
Oh, definitely. Very difficult. Like we mentioned earlier, trying to do the calculations, do this, do that. But on top of that, you're trying, and on the service, you're trying to make pit stops. You're using your mouse, trying to look for other boxes, clicking, unchecking, making sure you have your tires, your fuel, making sure your entire pit stop goes flawlessly. And even at a track like Michigan's 2 miles, it still can, you think you're getting out of turn 2, going to make some adjustments. Next thing you know, you're in turn 3. One little mistake, and next thing you know, the strategy we're thinking of is shot because you just ran into the wall and need some repairs. But right now, the battle for 5th is heating up as Buzzio and TJ Roberts are beating Adam into the 38 of Jamie Plord. Adam Buzzio getting really loose on corner exit, going to make an easy pass by TJ Roberts, and Plord's going to follow him through. And that just, I guess that kind of underlines what I was saying, Zach, is one little mistake, one little lapse of thought, and that whole strategy can go out the window.
Yeah, and this racetrack also, this is a very momentum-based racetrack. You know, you lose speed here, it's hard to build it back up, especially with having only 670 horsepower that these Gen 7 cars have. it's tough to be able to build that run back up. You know, back in the day, we used to have 900 horsepower here. You make a mistake, you slide one moment, you have that 900 horsepower engine able to get you back going and kind of get you back up the pace pretty quickly. But here, with this nowadays modern age of racing, it's very momentum based. You have to keep your speed up. Any loss of speed will equate in a loss of position. But look at this group here. You got some new tires coming through, but our top four are trying to still battle.
Yes, that is the 78 of Mason Hausman, taking a little bit of a delay after the 94 takes some tires. He is unlapping himself as we are looking at it. And this is a tight battle for the top four spots, really. The 7 and the 00 teammates have been going at it, but the 17 has been trying to side draft and pass and do everything he can to the 00 and try and break up that team, that tandem, but it just has not worked. The tandem has proven to be really effective here at Michigan with the pushing, with the draft, and the overall drive of the car. So the 17, mentioned it earlier, sitting here in dirtier air, much more difficult to keep a handle on that car, especially when the 17's been used to being out front all race.
Yeah, it's definitely a different aspect that I think Rogers is having to deal with. Not only that, but he's battling teammates. He knows two teammates that are going to go with each other, no doubt, here in the situation, give draft to each other. It makes that passing ordeal right here that he's trying to do in this 17 machine on the 00 that much harder. So right now, Gavin Rogers just trying anything, but it's not been able to work as Borbell has closed up to all three of them there, as it's the front four right now, broken away from this field as we close in on those pit stops.
Closing in on the pit stops and mentioning the teamwork up there. Looks like the 00 got to the outside of the 7, but decided to get out of the throttle. And as mentioned before, with that loss of momentum, that allowed the 17 of Gavin Rogers to get right back up to him. But the 00 has the draft of the 7, so it's just really a balancing act of clean air versus draft and speed. And as we're looking, we see him riding along with Stefan Borbell. The 17 almost cleared the 00, but couldn't quite make it stick, and that is going to make him get out of the throttle. He's going to resign to sit in third until he can get another run. And it looks like he may be coming here now, as I'm seeing a lot of usage of that lower line by the 17, as we see the 19 looks to be slowing down onto the apron and into pit road, and it's going to be a nice smooth entry for him. So hopefully for Stefan Borbell, no speeding penalties or any mistakes of that kind, because on pit road it can mean so much more.
That it can, Carl, but I tell you, it's 30 laps to go here. So us up here at Freaky Fast Broadcasting, we're going to hit our final commercial break of the night up here before all these drivers elect to come down pit road and get service on their race cars. But what a night it's been here at the Michigan International Speedway. It's 150 laps here tonight. We got 30 laps to go. Pit road is heating up. Everybody trying to make their final stops here to be able to put themselves in position to win tonight's race. You're not going to miss a thing. We're going to go side by side here. Freaky Fast Broadcasting here at the Wicked Racing League. We'll be right back.
4, 3, 2, 1, green screen. No layer grip whatsoever, up sideways. Sideways everywhere. Come on, man, do what you can. The vibration in this car is the worst vibration that I've ever had, and the shifter's broken again.
And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We have cycled almost all the way through our green flag pit stops. We are running along with the one of Mike Thomas, who's currently in the lead but has yet to pit. In fact, right now the pass was made for the lead right now. 17 past the 94 of Curtis Young, who Curtis Young tried to do the undercut Zach and didn't quite work out. He's hoping for a caution, and Gavin Rogers just proving that 10 lap fresher tires means all the difference, and he is going to track down this one car, which is only about 7.5 seconds back on old tires. The one car, if he's not going to pit, he's going to end up further than just a lap down when he does.
Yeah, when he hits pit road, it's going to be a big gap for him for sure. He's using a lot of time right now. Last time he's pitted was 92, which was the stage for stage 2. So hasn't made a pit stop yet under this cycle of green flag laps, but he'll be looking to do that pretty soon. As right here, you're going to see this is the 7 machine right here. Alex Coffey, last week's winner, the driver who was leading the race actually when this pit stop sequence all started to happen. He made a mistake on pit road. He had to come back down after a black flag to get served, and now just unlapping himself to put himself Now, on the tail end of the lead lap is Alex Coffey. That has got to be a heartbreaker for that 7 who was looking to go back-to-back here.
Heartbreaker indeed, Zach. And racing against some of these guys, Gavin Rogers, John Curtis, you almost have to race flawlessly. We've seen how smooth Curtis was with his in-car camera, how smooth he was with the wheel. And these guys, you have to be almost mistake-free. The 7 made a minor mistake we saw side by side in the first stage, just barely overshooting his pit box, but speeding is much worse, requiring you to come back down pit road instead of just losing a couple of seconds. He lost an entire other lap. So Alex Coffey, the only thing he would hope for is maybe a caution flag to maybe bunch him up and salvage a decent finish out of this, but not ideal tonight for the 7 machine.
Yeah, definitely not ideal, but right there we've seen it. The 3 of TJ Roberts, he made an ideal pass there on the 78 of Mason Hossman, who's struggling a little bit here. Looks like the 38 of Plord is going to try to make the pass on him, and not surprising is Hossman, he pitted at 112, so very early into the stint, was actually the second driver to make a pit stop, was 1 lap after Curtis Young, who's up in the top 5 right now at 111. So having much older tires, about 8 laps or 9 laps newer on the 38, a very easy pass done for him there as he moves himself back up to 9.
And into the top 10 goes Plord as we see Blaine Wilson fighting Adam Buzzio. Looks like they both might have stopped on the same lap and come out right next to each other there, fighting for the 7th and 6th position. There is the 21. So the 18 trying to get another spot through these green flag cycles. And as we're going through the field here, the one is finally our leader of Mike Thomas is going to hit pit road and get that service done after 41 laps under green, or at least on that set of tires. So definitely not the 45, but I can guarantee that he was really hoping for some tires earlier on.
Yeah, definitely was hoping for those tires there, Carl. But man, right now, this is going to set it up. It's back to Gavin Rogers, John Curtis, Stefan Borbell, our top 3 right now, as those 3 have kind of broken away there pretty well. Borbell pit at 120, Curtis at 122, and Rogers at 121. So Curtis, the best in the top 3 there when it comes to tire-wise, but he's still 3.1 seconds back from Gavin Rogers, who's turning some of the fastest lap times on the racetrack right now. So right now, Rogers looking to continue to build that gap to the drivers behind. But man, we definitely got some good battles forming though, for sure, as Buzzio has got Blaine Wilson directly behind him. TJ Roberts is running some fast times. Plord has got not really pulled away from Halsman too much, and Thomas is closing in on them. So really from 10th all the way to 5th, there's a great group of battling going on. And even Worcestershire back there is having a battle with in the 56 with the 24 Johnny Shade and Chad Bean there from 11th to 13th. So a good battle going on for these group of drivers all the way back here.
Good driving indeed, and we have about 15 laps to go here in the Irish Hills Michigan International Speedway. These guys have been toughing it out for 136 laps already, and the end isn't near, but you have to be able to keep a clear head, as the 00 of John Curtis has actually lost a little bit of time to the 17 of Gavin Rogers despite a couple lap pressure tires. So unfortunately for John Curtis, it looks like he's going to have some issues and possibly have to settle for second. But as we're looking at this battle right now, 24, the 56, and it looks like the 9 of Chad Bean all fighting for position there for the 13th spot. That is Johnny's Shade there in 11th. So these guys fighting hard even here in the back, trying to make something happen. And these guys all pit about the same time as our leaders. So in the rough comparison, Zach, all the tires should be the same, maybe except the one of Mike Thomas, who is now trying to pass the 00 in the second spot, trying to hunt down the leader to get his lead back.
Yeah, only a few guys there. Still, a lap down is Thomas now, like you said, going by here on the fresh tires of Curtis there to get by that second spot. But it's about 3.7 seconds up to Rogers before Thomas can get back on the lead lap. Everybody still has one set of tires still left for themselves also. So if there was to be a caution here, we would probably see a very, very busy pit road. And that would give actually Alex Coffey, the driver who really made that big mistake under this latest green flag stop. A huge chance to try to make up some ground, is right now 33 seconds back off the lead in 16th place.
Yeah, and that's he was excited. He wants to make a good pit stop and just kind of over revved it just a little bit. So just goes to prove that lapse of concentration, and it doesn't even have to be on the track. On pit road, it can and will cost you. But right now, it looks like Gavin Rogers has extended that lead to over 4 seconds above John Curtis. And right now, the 18, Blaine Wilson, sitting there in 6th position, as we're all kind of spaced out almost evenly, maybe a gap between the 4th and 5th of 94 and the 21 of Adam Buzzio. But for the most part, we're all kind of spread out evenly. So the green flag stops can bunch him up, but this time it looks like they strung him out, including the 7 of Alex Coffey there, Zach. And looks like Alex Coffey might have been one of the few, if only, maybe the only drivers with that mistake. So that just drops him further and further back in the field.
Yeah, every driver in the field right now with 10 laps to go is pretty spread out at the moment. These green flag stops, like you alluded to there, Carl, have really been the proponent to do that, and it's really separated a lot of this field. I can tell you what, Gavin Rogers, he's definitely hoping this race can just stay green all the way to the end for himself, as can confirm Mike Thomas just got his lap back, so 17 cars now back on the lead lap. But man, oh man, Gavin Rogers out front, going to be coming to 10 to go this time. He's going to be looking to hope for 10 green flag laps here, as he's got about a 4.5 second lead.
4.5 seconds to the second place car of John Curtis. As we're looking here, that's the 56 of Wolsifer and the 9 of Chad Bean there fighting for 12th. This group was kind of on top of each other, fighting for 11th, but Johnny Shade in that 24 Ford has been able to distance himself from these other 2 cars. So even in the back of the pack for 10th and 11th is starting to spread out, but in front of this group, it looks like the 3 of TJ Roberts is having some issues, maybe slowing down, and the 40 machine of Ryan Thomas trying to make some passing on the 78 of Mason Hausman, who is on older tires, but proven to be a little bit difficult there in the 10th position, making that pass and making Ryan Thomas's life just a little more difficult.
Yeah, definitely making that life a little bit more difficult for sure, Carl. As we got post-race interviews coming up here, so don't miss a thing here, folks, as we got 9 laps to go here at Michigan, as it's closing down to the end of tonight's race. It's going to be very, very, it's just, almost contact there between the 78 and the 40 there, as that would have been an interesting scenario. It could have possibly brought out one of our only yellows for contact here tonight, as it's been completely clean and green to this point, other than our stage cautions with 8 to go. Carl, I tell you what, it's impressive to see this, but can they make it continue to the end like this?
You know, I don't see it changing. They've been racing really clean, really respectfully, though, and they've been racing hard. We haven't seen any spins, any wrecks. We've seen some bumping, some banging. We've seen some contact with the wall, some contact with each other. But everyone's kept it straight. So these guys have put on a great show for the fans tonight, and being able to showcase these drivers' talents and making sure that just shows how it can be done with the iRacing and iRacing service. A lot of these guys getting together and racing, and just goes to prove how one mistake in terms of Alex Coffey can change a night. Alex Coffey being in the lead, and with that mistake brings in Stefan Borbell, John Curtis, and Curtis Young into the fold, with Adam Buzzio rounding out a nice top 5 finish. But right here, Chad Bean trying to make the pass on Wolsifer there for 12th position. Can't quite make it happen during that front straightaway, Zach. And right now, this is lap 24, 20, anywhere between 22 and 24 laps on these tires. So these tires already fading away. So guaranteed, like you said, if there were a flag to come out, it'd be a really busy pit road. But in that theoretical chance there, Zach, do you think 2 tires would be a viable option?
I tell you, Carl, it very well could be, because, you know, 2 tires typically here on the iRacing service will tend to loosen you up there, that balance-wise, as the 9 tries to get back to the inside here at Wilshire. But yeah, that'll typically help you out a little bit, man. So we could see someone look to play that strategy. but we'll have to get that caution first to allow them to do it as this racing continues on back here for the 12th, 13th, and 14th positions between these drivers. It's some great battling. This is the closest battle we got on the racetrack other than Blaine Wilson in the 18 and the 3 of TJ Roberts. They're also battling up there, but this group right here, they're going at it.
Going at it indeed, and with 5 to go, the intensity is picking up. Every position is a point, and points matter. So many bonus points, leading a lap, stage points, everything else. And Nigel Christensen had a great stage 2 showing, but kind of faded in stage 3. Had a rough start of the race, but oh wow, as he tries to go inside to avoid the 9 of Chad Bean, he is going to go 3 wide. They're going to make it 3 wide going into 3, and this is for 12th position. So looks like Chad Bean's going to give up just a little bit. Oh, the 20 of Nigel's going to chase up the track just a tad, but they are going to sort themselves out coming out of turn 2. Chad Bean getting really loose, and oh wow, Wilseford being able to hold on to it, and with matter of a corner there, Zach, on these medium wear tires at this point, 24, 25 laps, already getting squirrely on them.
Ooh, it about stepped away there from the 9, and the 56 almost got it, but luckily for Richard, he misses that, and everybody goes along. But Nigel Christensen, great job by him. He goes from 14th all the way to 12th with a 2-for-1 pass down there into 1 with 4 laps to go. So great job by him. It's about another second up the road to Johnny Shade. You might have a chance to get up to him in the 24, but it's not going to be very likely, as TJ Roberts also made the pass for 6 on Blaine Wilson to move himself up. Curtis Young, he's starting to fall in the clutches of Adam Buzzio here with a couple laps to go for 4th. It's definitely starting to close down, but Gavin Rogers is the one thing that is not closing down with 3 to go. He's got a 5-second lead.
5 seconds, and it's only grown this entire green flag run, but I'm going to applaud the 94 of Curtis Young. He waited, he short pit more earlier than everyone else. He's on 10 lap older tires than everyone, and he's still there in the 4th position after starting 8th, being able to hold off the 21 of Adam Buzzio. Just got to hand it to him, especially not for showing up, not being there for the first points race last week, coming up here and running in the top 5, been in the top 5 all night long. Got to applaud the 94, and but with that, the 17's cross the line, making it 2 to go, Zach. And like you mentioned before, everyone's kind of strung out just a little bit, except maybe for the battle for the 12th position. So right now, 2 to go at Michigan. Looks like we may see the screen.
Yeah, we're going to probably see the screen to the end, man, for the penultimate time down the back straightaway. The 17 of Gavin Rogers. It's been smooth sailing tonight. Finished 2nd in stage 1 after leading majority of it. Won the next stage. Now going to be looking to get that win here as he comes out of 4.
Looking to get the win, but first he's going to take the freaky fast white flag. 1 lap to go here at Michigan Speedway for the Wicked Racing League. 2nd race of the season, 2nd points race of the season. We did have the clash a couple weeks ago, but there was no points. An exhibition race just for fun, but this is for it all. The 17 looking to add a checkered flag after finishing 3rd last week. He's looking to improve that finish, and with a monstrous lead to John Curtis. He is going to go into 4, come out of 4 without a challenge. Checkered flag is waving already, and winning it is the 17 of Gavin Rogers by a landslide. Absolute domination by the 17 of Gavin Rogers. Zach, I know we were talking in the first stage, he might have be a little slower on the long run, being caught by the 7 of Alex Coffey, but Alex Coffey with that late race penalty wasn't able to recover, and 17 is going to take that win almost effortlessly.
Yeah, that was a masterclass by Gavin Rogers there to be able to pull away and open up that gap. You got to feel for Alex Coffey a little bit. That 7 was very, very fast all night long. Made the mistake on pit road. That's going to come back to haunt him to finish 16th. But, man, what a job by him. What a job by John Curtis to bring it home in 2nd, and also Stephen Vorbell. So congrats to those drivers. Look at this. Gavin Rogers is going to get to celebrate here on the front straightaway.
Gavin Rogers celebrating, seeing the smoke burning down the rubber, doing the donuts as we love to see here at Freaky Fast Broadcasting. But ladies and gentlemen, don't go anywhere. As promised, we will have our post-race interviews. We are going to step away just for a moment, and when we come back, we'll have those interviews for you. We'll interview our top 3 finishers. So don't go anywhere. Again, we will be right back. And welcome back, race fans. As promised, we have come back to interview our top 3 finishers. The first and foremost is the 3rd place finisher, the 19 Toyota of Stefan Borbel. Stefan, this is Carl and Zach up in the booth. You had a great race. I'm kind of curious, though. You kind of fell off in that first stage, fell mid-pack after starting second. Take us through that first stage and your recovery through the rest of the race.
Yeah, so I appreciate you guys having me. But basically, that first stage, I tried something different with. I knew I qualified second or whatever it was, and I just told my team, I said, I'm going to take it easy on this stage. I'm going to fall to the back and just see if I can work my way up just to test the saving tires and then pushing at the end. And then it didn't work, obviously, because I didn't get my way back up. So the second stage, I decided just to go out.
Well, I'll tell you what, Stefan, man, it was a great run here tonight for you. Up to 3rd here to get that finish, and came in here 4th in points tonight. We head to Richmond next week. You feel you can carry some of that momentum here into next week?
Yeah. Richmond's a pretty good track for me. We'll see. But just want to give a shout out to all my family and friends watching, Addison, my girlfriend, Alec, everyone like that. But I appreciate all y'all's support. Ashley, I got to list all the names real quick, otherwise they're going to be mad at me. Ashley, Addison, Alec, Peyton, Josh, Addison's family, my dad, everyone. Y'all are the best.
Well, we definitely understand. I gotta make those fans happy,
Yeah,
Stefan. No problem. Well, not a. We were really glad to see you there, running really well. Good luck next week and on to Richmond.
appreciate it, guys. Thank you, guys.
And again, that was the 19 of Stefan Borbel, Zach. Zach, that was interesting. He did try a different kind of a strategy in the beginning, like we were mentioning, experimenting with that conservation issue. So I got to say, it's interesting to hear it. It's trying early on.
I tell you, it was definitely interesting for him. So it sounded like it didn't work too well. So he went back, changed it up, figured out what was wrong, and it got it figured out for that second part of the race and marched his way up to third.
Well, even more impressive, he knew what was wrong, was able to fix it, found that speed, and just was able to march all the way to a third place position. But speaking of a third place position, we have our second place position, the 00 of John Curtis. John, it is Carl and Zach up in the booth. Take us through that race. You kind of qualified in 12th. You had a rough start, but especially towards the end, middle of the second stage or to the end, you were at the front and had the speed. What were you missing there to gain and lose that gap to Gavin Rogers?
It's consistency, 100%. I was not on the ball today, and just I don't know. I just wasn't consistent. I think I tore him up pretty early. If I was banking on Alex getting out behind me and us running on, but it didn't work out. But it was fun. I had a lot of fun running close with Nigel all them laps, and then towards the end, me, Alex, and Gavin going back and forth. That was a really, really fun race with the battles we had.
It really was, man. I tell you, congrats, John. It's Zach also up here in the booth, man, on second. And that was a great battle, like you said there. And, 2 second place finishes to start out the season. That's got to be a good feeling for you, man. But, you won the kind of season opener there at the Clash at the Coliseum. And, very much a short track there. We head to Richmond, the first short track. Do you feel like you can kind of carry some of that momentum from that short track to there?
It seems like I've done better at the short tracks in the next gen. In Gen 6, I wasn't as quick, but we've run a lot of short tracks here lately. So hopefully I'll put on a show and be out front.
Well, you definitely put on a show tonight. We are looking forward to it tomorrow or next week. Before we let you go, Mr. Curtis, anyone you want to give a shout out to tonight?
I got to shout out y'all for the great job y'all done. Like I said last week, I go back and watch these, and I'm just amazed at how good it is and the effort you guys put into it, and I really appreciate that. Got to thank Woodhouse Industries for sponsoring the race. I have to go to work tomorrow and tell them I didn't get it, but podium, that'll work. Curtis Signs Incorporated, got to thank them. All the guys at CNC Esports for putting in the work this week, and the admin team, and Adam and Nigel and Alex and all them guys, and just ready for next week.
Well, we are definitely ready to watch next week as well. Hopefully, we'll make it 3 weeks in a row. John, good luck.
Thank you, sir.
And that was the second place finisher of John Curtis. But the moment you've all been waiting for, to talk to the winner, the 17, Gavin Rogers. Gavin, this is Carl and Zach up in the booth. You had a dominant car all day. You started on the pole. You finished and won the race. Take us through that, especially maybe that first stage ending where Alex Coffey passed you. After that, no one passed you.
Yeah, I wasn't too worried about when Alex got by me because I knew that the final stage was about 60 laps. I was going to split it down to 30 and 30 on tires, and I knew I was really good, like down to about 35 laps, and then everybody else was catching up to me. So I felt pretty good about it. But once Alex and Curtis got by me, in the beginning of that final stage, I was kind of skeptical about what was going to happen there. I didn't really feel great about my strategy there because I knew if I was going to short pit them, they would have pitted right after me, and I thought they were going to do what they did last week. And unfortunately, things went my way this time. And yeah, it was just a great race overall.
Yeah, it definitely was, Gavin, man. Congrats on the win and a well-driven race from yourself, man. And I tell you what, we saw how dominant you were early in this race, able to get out front, really open up those gaps. You talked about when Alex and John were both able to get by there. how hard was it there as those two working together as teammates to get back by them, with how powerful the draft is?
It wasn't as hard as I thought it was. I mean, I thought they were just gonna pull ahead of me, but they didn't. And uh, I mean, I just stayed right behind them. The draft helped me out a little bit. And oh, sorry, I got my mother here. You want to say something? You want to say something? No, she doesn't. Uh, okay. Sorry about that. Yeah, I later on when they got by me, I was kind of okay with them being ahead of me because it's like I said, short pitting them. Um, I thought that I wasn't sure if that was gonna help. I was gonna find out once I came out pit road. Unfortunately, Alex had a problem in the pits. Hate for that to happen, but I mean, I had almost a 5-second lead, so strategy went right. Really proud of it, and we'll look to next week. I think it's at Richmond. I'll try to get as much practice, do the same thing again.
Yes, definitely looking forward to Richmond next week. We've talked to you 2 weeks in a row here in the booth, hoping to make it 3. But before we let you go and get to practice on Richmond, anyone want to give a shout out to tonight?
Yeah, first of all, my sponsors, Jet Set Magazine, got a great car here tonight. Nigel Christensen made for me, and Sundance Pizza got work tomorrow, so can't be up celebrating too long. And Printed Pieces, and then you guys as well. You guys put up some great races on Freaky Fast broadcast. I like to go back and look at these, and I mean, you guys do really well. And also shout out to my parents, my mom, my dad, my brothers, my family, aunts, uncles, grandparents, karting teammates Gio and David.
Well, we definitely love the feedback, love helping you guys out, and love talking to you, Gavin. Good luck and congratulations on the win.
Thank you guys. Have a good one.
And that was the winner, Gavin Rogers. He finished last week at Dover in 3rd. And tonight, Zach, he put on a clinic. He pretty much said he knew what he wanted to do. He had the fastest car, and he knew it. And that just made him an absolute dominating factor. We pull up the finishing results here at Michigan. Gavin Rogers, John Curtis, Stefan Warbel in 3rd. Adam Buzzio and Curtis Young is going to wrap up the top 5. TJ Roberts will fall from 3rd to a 6th place finishing position. Blaine Wilson in 7th. Jamie Plord in 8th. Ryan Thomas in 9th. And rounding out the top 10 is Mason Hausman. So a lot of these other drivers like Alex Coffey had some incidents down pit road. Mike Thomas finished there in 17th. He tried to run it long. It didn't quite make it, but Curtis Young did. So he was able to hold on to the short pit and finish there in 5th. So Zach, Richmond next week. We've seen some Michigan. We've seen some Dover. Richmond is another one of those tracks that just there's nothing like it. So really excited to get there next week and see what we can find.
Yeah, definitely going to be an interesting time for sure as we leave out of here in Michigan. What a great race tonight was. As we you gotta applaud them, man. Only cautions for the stages. That's impressive to do for 150 laps here at a track that you're very much on top of your competition for much of the night. So congrats to the guys on making it green here tonight. But Richmond that is going to be really, really fun. First of all, love that place. This next gen car race is really good around there. Seen some good battles so far with it in our time here at Freaky Fast. So I'm excited to see that and kind of get the shakeup. You got Dover, high bank, medium to intermediate track. Then you come here to Michigan for the long speedway style 2-mile racetrack, very high speed. And then next week we're going to be at the flat Richmond, a short track there. So it's going to be fun to see 3 different starts of the season and to see who can come to Richmond and be, that short track ace that we know.
Definitely looking forward to that and the crazy schedule we have. Ladies and gentlemen, you won't miss a piece of the action. Hit that subscribe button, hit that like button. Find us on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, you name it. We are on it and we are always live. We have started a ton of action for you, racing 6 nights a week here at Freaky Fast Broadcasting. But until next time, make sure you all stay safe, hug yourself, hug your loved ones, but most importantly, until next time, keep it freaky fast.